It is Wednesday. RawMikeRichards.com. Broadcasting live from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto, the Pacific Junction Hotel, 234 King Street East. I just had to hit that post. That's why I rushed it there.
Yeah, you were good.
Hit that post now. Yeah. Monster cars are coming to the Sky Dome. And Big Daddy Don Garlitz and his... I never got sick of those ads for whatever reason. You know,
have you ever been in Monster trucks? I've been to one of them.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've been to one of them, and also been to motocross. Motocross is pretty cool too. And I
didn't see you doing that kind of stuff.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and then of course, as soon as you go to motocross, for the next 2 days after, you want to be in motocross and you want to get a bike, and then by the third day, you're kind of finished with it, and you kind of move on and pick up the hockey stick again, right?
You're getting the Dave. You're not getting a bike.
I still remember Ross Rollerball Peterson was a motocross guy that won everything back in the day.
Ross Rollerball Peterson.
Yeah, yeah, the right name.
Can't say I was familiar. Maybe you're familiar with one of our guests coming up today. Aren't you? Rochelle Ryan. Is she a XXX star? Yes, she is. And she is a huge Giants fan. We'll get her take on, wow, what was just a crazy bad year for the Giants fans. And, of course, as well, Super Bowl coming up. We're going to see what not to do at a Super Bowl party. And I got this footage from Russell Graham's Super Bowl party from last year.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, these guys tried to do a bet
at
his party. And as you'll see, not good. Also, some interesting footage today as we get ready for the Super Bowl. If you haven't really seen what a reel that is a highlight reel package that coaches put together. So in the States, it's actually a big business. Mm-hmm. So there's Dave, and he's at let's say he played with Tom Brady. So he's at San Mateo, in California, and his coach said, "Hey, this is Dave Bastel. You know, they give the stats, how big he is, blah, blah, blah. This is what he does. He's capable." And then you see like a reel. So we're going to show you Tom Brady's. Like, basically, he's had that same face his whole life. Like, he just, that aw shucks kind of, cleft chin. But when you see some of these clips of what he was, it's interesting that he didn't become immediately like the big college star. Because that's not true. Mm-hmm. Not even the starter, Dave. Not a starter. But it's 6 foot. So in high school, he's 6'4", 210. So pretty much similar size to, like, I mean, he hits a certain growth period and that's it. Some guys have different ones. But at 6'4", the way he is able to dominate over the offensive and defensive lines when he's throwing these patterns, it's kind of not how he looks now. He is more, and obviously it's high school. This is what happens.
He looks smaller than that.
Yeah. So now, where he's throwing these slant patterns, he's kind of looking over and almost throwing down. He looks like the way that a Ben Roethlisberger looks to us now. A bigger pocket guy that's standing there and just, it doesn't matter because if a guy hits him, they just bounce off. But it's interesting to look at a young Tom Brady, not only the highlight reel, but the first time in the local Bay Area he gets interviewed. And I think clips of that are in that piece called Tom versus Time.
Tom versus Time, yes.
Yeah. So this is part of that, but this is the actual interview that we're going to see, because as we get ready for what I hope is going to be an engaging Super Bowl, Dave, I see, some possibilities of, I don't know, upset. I mean, look, anything can happen. And after last year's Super Bowl, why would we think that something weird wouldn't happen? Who knows? I mean, I wasn't expecting Atlanta not only have that huge lead, but then to lose it.
If you look at the history of the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they don't really blow teams out. So if you jumped on 6.5, good for you. Congratulations to you. Right now it's 5, and there's a lot of people that are telling me that this number could drop as well. If it starts to drop to a certain extent, Mike, I'm tempted to take the Patriots because I do think they are going to win. I don't think they're going to blow anybody out, but if I just have to give away 3.5, 4 points, I'm considering the Patriots side of things. But right now, sitting at 5, cemented at 5, I would probably say still I'm tempted to go Eagles, but I don't like going to the window saying bets on the Eagles, please, in the biggest game of the year.
Yeah, no, and look, I think you echo what a lot of people are probably feeling today, which is 5 points in a championship game. Philadelphia looks so good. They've been relatively efficient under, and that's the word I'd probably use is
defense
efficient.
Is much better than the Patriots' defense.
The defense is good.
Yes,
the defense is good. So is it a field goal game? Well, if it is, 5 points is juicy.
See, because I look at it as close to a field goal game, but I look at it in the sense that the Patriots aren't going to drive the ball down the field tied at 24 and kick a field goal to win. I think the Patriots might be up by about 7 or 8, and the Eagles might be threatening and decide to kick a field goal or throw a touchdown that gets them within 3 or 4 points. Maybe the Patriots are up by 10, and the Eagles come down, score that touchdown to cut it within 3. Onside kick, Patriots recover, game over. Something like that. Like when you look at it and you go, man, they're up by 10 points. There's 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Look, there are those that
backdoor.
Those that cheer for the team don't use any of the language that Dave just Dave just did. He is speaking like how we talk, which is degenerates, which is, but if they're ahead by this much and then there's a field goal, then if there's them, you're not going, ooh, I hope my team wins. You're saying no. No, you're a degenerate gambler like Dave and I, which means during these big sporting events, you're a whore, a dirty whore. 1 minute you're cheering for one team, the next minute going, well, why are you cheering for the other team now? Because I'm a whore.
They can't blow them out.
Yeah.
I better not see the Patriots up 21-0 at the end of the first quarter.
No.
Because by the way, there's a really good prop, and we'll get to it a little bit later on this week. But really good prop for first quarter scoring. Patriots have not scored a point in the first quarter of any of their Super Bowls. That number on Sports Interaction is 9.5. It's a feeling out process.
Yeah, that's
take the under.
Like, do I think there's a touchdown? Are these teams capable of a touchdown and a field goal in the first quarter?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, that is because now you're talking about a half of what? Is it 20.5 for the halftime?
For the halftime,
like,
if it
the
was
totals.
Close to, it's 46.5, I believe.
Okay, so it's 23. It's 23.
Probably, yeah. So you sit there.
So do you think there's 3 touchdowns? Are there over 3? Is there three touchdowns and a field goal in that first half? My gut says no. My gut says under.
No, I do too.
Now
I'm well on board with
now,
that.
would the second half be more explosive? Absolutely.
Yes.
In fact, if you had the bet of, which is
second
books take second half.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll get into more of those props too, because there's a lot going on, and they're finalizing everything, and then they put something out, and because there's like another, and that's why we're talking to Vinny Iyer about this, and he kind of touched on it. I just wanted that cemented feeling when I go in and bet on these props. Tom Brady in these situations loves the dumps to the running backs out of the backfield. So we're talking about James White, Dion Lewis, go over the reception values as far as how many catches they will make in a game, and then be careful with the yardage as well, because if like last week or 2 weeks ago, I should say, Dion Lewis, I had him over 19.5 points. He got that almost in the first 4 drives of the game. Sometimes during the regular season, the guy doesn't touch the ball at all out of the backfield. He will in these situations, because a lot of times you build up your quarterback confidence by going completion, 3 completions, maybe 9.5, 10 yards, but it makes the quarterback feel better about himself. And yes, even a Tom Brady, even the greatest of all time, has to build momentum and confidence in the biggest game of the season.
You're watching Raw Mike Richards broadcasting from the DKI studios in downtown Toronto, 234 King Street East. Dave just mentioned the greatest of all time. Well, what was it like when he was a kid? How different really could it be in San Mateo, California, where he comes out of? So we need to look probably at his highlight reel, the reel that he's going to send to colleges to show that he is a Division I caliber athlete. I find this to be fascinating. Now, what is the website this actually comes from? Because if there is something, some sort of ownership, I want to take a look at where there's going to be a little Is it something Total Sports or Tom Brady? Yeah, so Tom Brady. This is a clip from their particular. I want to make sure we get the rights out there because this is fascinating to go back and take a look at a Tom Brady and his high school coach telling universities, Dave, you might want to be interested in this kid.
6'3", 205-pound junior from San Mateo, number 12, Tom Brady.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom McKenzie. I'm the head football coach at Epilepsy High School. I'm just going into my 5th year of coaching, and I'd like to introduce my starting quarterback from this past season, Tom Brady. Tom is a 6'4", 210-pound athlete that started all 10 games for us this past season. He's a big, strong, very durable athlete that has an excellent work ethic, especially in the off-season, and does things to try to make himself a better athlete. He definitely has a Division I arm. This next season, we're working on things such as field presence. We're going to continue development on his quarterback mechanics and his decision-making process when he goes back deep into the pocket. If any colleges or coaches are interested in seeing more of Tom, we have a whole list of past plays that you can sort of look over the 10-game period of last season. We also have game film that we can make a video copy and send to you both of his junior year and then, of course, next year in his senior year. Thank you.
Look at that. That, once again, courtesy of a Tom Brady website.
Resume tape, eh?
If you're getting
I remember that.
Like something like that, it's like, can you imagine if you're one of the schools went, I don't see it. Because Dave, a lot of people did. A lot of people did. You know, it was like Drew Brees. Everyone, I think he's too small.
Yeah, too short.
Too short.
Doesn't have the arm strength.
No, unbelievable. So that was awesome. That was really good.
That is kind of cool.
Now, he got so much press in that Bay Area that there was it was like a news show. Now, this is what you're going to see in Tom versus Time. This is one of the first times that he's interviewed, and he still has that same demeanor. Like, you got to hand it to it. There's some good parenting somewhere, Dave, because if I'm a coach, I love kids like this. I love this is all American apple pie, aw shucks kind of stuff, and it's real. Like, he is not an act. He is authentic, which is what I like. And interesting in the news story, this guy that goes on to it, because I'm not going to show this part because there's a bunch of stuff in between this that's not very good. But he goes, well, maybe these are one of the names down the road in the future that you might be hearing, like possibly a Tom Brady. Well, pal,
you're wrong.
You should have put some money on that one. Here is one of his first interviews he does with the Bay Area news television station, his first piece, and has he really changed that much? Once again, here's Tom Brady.
Well, over across the bay at San Mateo Serra High School is a 6'4", 200-pound quarterback named Tom Brady.
Ready?
After an MVP performance at Cal's football camp this summer, Cal High Magazine ranked Brady among the top 6 quarterbacks in the state.
Okay, I'm a college coach. I haven't seen any tape of you. I don't know anything about you. Tell me about Tom Brady, the quarterback. What are your strengths?
My strengths. So everybody tells me I have a pretty strong arm, which is good. I'm pretty accurate with it, and I think I need to work on my speed a little bit, but hopefully that'll come in time. Pretty good work ethic, so I think I can get the job done.
His coach says Tom has what it takes.
The exceptional athlete, and usually one that's the world-class athlete that makes it, is the person that has the willingness to make the commitment to be able to go that extra mile.
Because my game is strong.
All right, that's where we're out of here. Okay, fine.
Ooh. You had me until you played that song.
Yeah.
I was ready to bring him to my college.
And then they'll goon us because it's owned by DJ Slappy. And
Ooh, DJ Slappy.
Yeah, who knows?
Don't worry. Russell has a pretty good relationship with DJ Slappy.
Sure he does. By the way, do you think he's changed that much? Do you listen to him talking?
Not really.
I don't think he's changed at all.
You know what? Hasn't improved his speed at all.
Yeah, it's like
garbage. Slow as molasses.
I'm going to work on my speed. Well, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You haven't been working hard enough there, son.
Tom, do you think you'll marry a Brazilian supermodel? Oh, I don't know. You are. I'm from the future, and I'm your new agent. Imagine going back as a sleazebag. Hello, Tom. Why, who are you? You look like a bike courier. No, I'm not. It is remarkable, that whole thing, I think. Very interesting. And when you think of the anti-Tom element that is out there, those that literally just despise Tom Brady.
I'm a little bit.
Are you?
Well, only because he beats on the Jets.
See, because it's got to be.
I mean,
it's either that or there's like.
I have a massive respect for Tom Brady, and the thing I
pull that thing closer. I don't know why it's so quiet today.
I have a massive respect for Tom Brady, but the beatdown for the last 20 years on the New York Jets it kind of does it for me. But as far as witnessing the greatest quarterback, I thought I witnessed the greatest quarterback as a kid when I saw Joe Montana. But this guy has surpassed that.
I don't know if there's anyone in this league. I really don't. I don't know.
And that's why when I hear people tell me I'm kind of getting tired of the Patriots way, and well, so am I. Trust me, I'm really getting tired of it. But there's going to be a time where I'm sitting here in 5-6 years going, damn, I saw Tom Brady in his prime, and this is coming from a guy that is within that division, cheers within that division. I probably watch at least 6-7 Tom Brady games a season over the course of 15 years. I mean, there isn't going to be much better than this, because there certainly isn't once he leaves this league. I will be hard pressed to ever see this kind of guy in our generation.
Well, there is, or in anyone's generation. And this is, and again, I'm not worshiping at the altar of Tom Brady. I think it's just the facts speak for themselves. Just the number of rings he has, the number of times the MVP. And I look at this season, and do I think, yeah, just like Peyton, I think he's going to call it a day. Why? Why would he call it a day?
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't need to.
Don't quit. Exactly.
He absolutely does. And of course,
agree.
For those who want to bet on over-unders on total games won in the season, don't quit.
Yeah. And you know what? When we're talking about the Tom Brady feature, Tom versus time, I'm betting on Tom.
Yeah. He's going to beat Father Time.
Tom's going to knock off Time. I'm sorry. I know it's a massive upset, but it's going to happen.
I'm Father Time now, and this is to Tom Brady. You bastard! You! First loss ever.
Seriously.
Yeah, it is. Now, a couple of things before we get to agree or disagree with Dave.
I love that.
These are very popular.
These are very popular. Yeah.
Interesting. Steve Kerr. I just love Steve Kerr. I liked him as a player. I like him as a coach, and he does certain things that are kind of interesting. Now, they get blown out by Utah last night. Blown out. Like the horrible loss.
It was weird, yeah.
And so it's like he tries to see if the reporters are paying special attention to, because you just throw the microphones in. Do you think blah blah blah? So he tries to do what every coach speak about how they just, if the brakes had gone the other way, they would have won. All right, and then there's this silence just to see if they're paying attention. Steve Kerr, once the property of the National Basketball Association, the NBA, what do they call it? Web brand,
something like that.
Broadband.
Okay.
Broadband,
sure.
And of course, courtesy of our friends at ESPN. Here is Steve Kerr just seeing if the reporters are on their toe after a horrific loss.
A couple tough calls, ball bounces another way, and the game's right there. I saw one team get their ass kicked. That's what I saw.
How does that happen 50 games in when you're the world champs and they're struggling?
It's the NBA. Everybody's got talent. They were tremendous tonight. They were well prepared. They were aggressive, and our hearts weren't in it. And at this level, if your heart's not in it, I don't care how much talent you have, you're gonna lose.
I was gonna say the energy levels seem low. What causes for a team to not have their hearts in it? What contributes to that?
What contributes to
a team not having their heart in it?
I have no idea. If I knew, I would have thwarted those forces, those evil forces before the game, and I would have had our guys playing with great energy. But
there it is. I just thought it was kind of a cool moment. But again, how does a team? How many times do you say that as a fan? How do professional athletes go out there, especially those that are at the top of the mountain in your given sport, and play like shit?
Yeah.
Like how can your heart not be in it? And that's why Steve Kerr goes, I don't know. I don't know how you do what our team just did. So in terms that Canadians understand, the next practice would be what, a bag skate?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might be getting one of those because are you not interested in playing anymore? So I thought that was a pretty interesting moment. Now for David Bastel, who the one person said on one of our YouTube comments, Savage.
I think he meant to say Savage.
Savage.
Savage, yeah.
Either way, it is it is another episode. How about this music?
I love it.
And now it's time for Dave Bastel. Agree.
Yeah.
Or disagree.
Okay, here we go.
Dave.
Thank you, Mike. Pretty good voiceover. Nice song, too. I think there's a name of the song. It's called No, I'm Not Going to Tell You. Okay. So annually, I shouldn't say annually, because it happens 2 or 3 times a year, when John Tavares and the New York Islanders come to town and the Tavares carrot hangs in the balance of Maple Leaf fans like my friend here, Russell Graham, whether or not the Maple Leaf should make a play at John Tavares. My answer to this is equivocally 100% yes. By all means, make the greatest run you've ever made at a player in the history of the organization. And here's what you do. First of all, a guy like Tyler Bozak, James Van Riemsdyk, Leo Komarov, Dominic Moore, off the salary book. Consider trading Nazem Kadri as well. I know a lot of people aren't going to like that, but I'm sorry, it's John Tavares. You line up John Tavares, you give him a contract that's greater than Connor McDavid's. Now, a lot of people will sit there and say, man, that's foolish. No, it's not. You have Tavares and Matthews as your 1-2, the greatest 1-2 punch in the entire National Hockey League. I know Austin Matthews is going to make some serious cake this year, but you have to go after Tavares while you can, because Tavares should be an 8-year leaf, maybe even longer if you can. He should be the captain of this franchise, and you gather him and Matthews around the rest of the core, maybe even consider a Connor Brown moving to center ice to fill in that third spot. Also, in a couple of years, you're going to lose Nathan Horton's money. You're going to lose Joffrey Lupul's money next year. It comes off the books as well as relief. So attack this like you've never attacked a player in your life. John Tavares has to be a Toronto Maple Leaf if this team is going to actually make the next jump around all these nice young players and nice young rookies to make that ultimate step. It's nice to finish third in the shitty Atlantic Division, but you want to finish first. You want to finish first in the East, and you want to finish first overall in the National Hockey League. So everything must be dedicated towards John Tavares. He has to be a Maple Leaf if this team is going to do anything in the next 5 to 6 years. Now's your chance to do it. Don't screw this up. Get John Tavares signing a paper with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He should be the next captain of this team.
Agree or disagree with Dave Bastel. And now, the vocal part of this song.
Sounds pretty good, actually. Sounded like John Dix there.
You ever hear Russell used to those kind of metal bands to do that?
I think he's going to see one on Friday.
Me and Ted Nesbitt, we actually listen to this kind of music.
Well, he is the Viking. He is the Viking.
He is the Viking. Wow, that was very good, Dave.
Do we? You know what? I want to hear a rebuttal by Russell Graham, because as far as agree or disagree, I want to hear either him disagree or agree with me, because he's always the first man off, and I hope we get a nice response today on social media.
Well, here's what happens when you go back to back with that kind of music, and now this one.
They're two different people.
Yeah, the two different. Yes, they are. All right, Russell.
I agree to an extent.
to an extent.
I agree with the fact that they should target him, but with the amount that Matthews is going to make, I don't think you give him McDavid money or more, because I think you can convince him to take around the 10 or 11 if he's going to be playing with Austin Matthews for the next 8 or 9 years or whatever it is.
She's calling us. right?
Oh, right.
Yeah. So we got to cross our fingers and hope. Exactly. You know what? I just look at it going, you know what? Nazem Kadri's number may have to come off the books, and it may be a casualty of your situation with that kind of center coming in. So if you're looking at that, James Van Riemsdyk, that's already 9. Dominic Moore's another $1 million. Tyler Bozak's 4 off, plus the cap increases. You lose a little bit by gaining the best free agent in the last 10 years, is it?
It's not
because if we're looking at Stamkos and Tavares is here, Stamkos is here, and I know the numbers don't show that this year in Tampa Bay and what he's playing with, but I'll take Tavares anytime over Steven Stamkos.
I would agree. It's just I think now I lost my train of thought when you went with Stamkos. I was going to say something.
That's very, very professional.
Jedi mind tricked them. Yeah, I think so.
What is that? How do you do that? That's oh yeah. Well,
those aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah. I just noticed that I'm trying to fart around with these things. They have changed. Our mics are backwards today.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. So I'm going, what the hell?
Yeah, because I'm not able to hear you on but I can hear the computer.
Yeah, you're okay now. It's good now. It's
is it
just because
okay?
These are backwards. It's okay. We've managed to get through. By the way, Rochelle Ryan,
yes,
is going to be joining us. She is famous. She's actually she was really good on the show last time. We're really thrilled.
Let me ask you a question. Sorry, I can still hear the music.
Yeah.
Can you still hear the music?
Yeah, because it's still going.
Oh, okay.
No,
I was just making sure because I didn't want to sit there and.
This is
because when Rochelle comes on, because she's going to be phoning us in about 5 minutes, not even. That's not her music. She has other music.
I would say if that is her music, it's got to be some sort of Bavarian World War II theme with soldiers. I'm just throwing it out there. Please don't steal the idea. I have a lot of great ideas.
You have a ton of good ideas. I know.
Yeah, that's an excellent one. What Adolf didn't know. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. If you want to steal, it's okay. You know what? Take that one. That's free. I'm throwing that up for free. Also coming up in this week, we're going to talk about Super Bowl and Super Bowl parties, maybe what not to do. I don't know if I should even show this one, but Russell Graham had a Super Bowl party last year, and 2 of his buddies, they had a bet, and it's not a football bet. It's not on the game. I don't know why you do this. This is maybe what you don't do at a Super Bowl, courtesy of Russell Graham.
I'm going to drop my balls, my babies, my future babies. My babies are gone, bro.
This is not good.
Oh! Even the dog bark.
Yeah.
That shit hurt my dick, bro.
This is a fun party. Looks like every party I went to in Stouffville.
No, my dick, bro. My dick is stinking, bro. Even the dog bark.
There you go. Why would you do that? Anyway, Super Bowl parties. Are we having a food person in tomorrow? Are we? Maybe not. Well, we'll think.
Well, here's the thing. He said yes, like right off the top, but then he said there may be a little bit of a conflict because the person we're talking about runs a very popular pizzeria. They're having a mass order tomorrow of over 100 pizzas around 10:30. So it's like, so I said, okay, well, that's probably, a week's worth of product. Maybe we can hold off, but hey, we're never calling again. No, I'm just joking. No, we'll get them another time.
Do you ever host Super Bowl parties?
I have before we had the kids. But now it's so tough too because the game starts at 6:30.
Yeah, I don't. I used to. To me, I've hosted like a ton of Grey Cup parties
and Grey Cup parties. Yeah.
Oh,
hey!
Speaking of the party, and now we go live. I believe we finally have her. Is this Rochelle Ryan?
It sure is.
Hey,
Rochelle. Now I know you hear that all the time, but I had to do that, Rochelle. I just had to. Is that wrong?
It's okay.
Good morning.
Oh, how are you doing, sweetheart? It's been great. We haven't talked to you in a bunch of months. I know your schedule's busy as crazy, but thanks so much for joining us here this morning. We just have a great time when you're on. Oh, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Okay, great. Now, so let's just address something first.
No, not too good.
Yeah, well, that giant season, So how did you make it through? How did you do this year? That was a tough one.
Oh gosh, it was such a tough season. I mean, I'm kind of glad that I have fantasy football to fall back on because my fantasy league was kicking butt and kind of taken away from the distraction of how terrible my Giants were. But, I'm a loyal fan, whether we're winning or losing. So it's, we had a lot of positive changes happen. So onwards and upwards.
Well, what do you think the real problem was, and where do you think you go? What are the Giants going to do, and what are they doing that you like for the fix?
I mean, McAdoo was a huge problem. I mean, he neutered our offense, and I mean, the whole benching Eli. I mean, I just don't think that like a lot of Giants fans still can understand what happened there. But I think Pat Shurmur is going to be a really good look for us. I think he's going to give our offense, the spark that it needs. So I'm really excited for that. That's like one huge positive us Giants fans can look forward to.
Yeah, I totally agree, Rochelle. Great talking to you this morning. I had a question about the new head coach and whether he's going to go in the direction of Eli Manning. A lot of times when a new management group comes in, they want their own guy, they want their own person, and Eli's not exactly a spring chicken anymore. Do they start to bring in a new quarterback? Because the Giants do have that high pick, and maybe it's time to start nurturing that next guy that you're going to be cheering on for the next decade.
I think so too. I mean, I know a lot of fans and stuff are hoping that we pick up Josh Rosen in the draft, but I mean, we do have the second pick and all, but the problem with Rosen is that he wants to play like right now.
Yeah.
He's a UCLA kid, like he's ready to go, and and Eli still got some miles left on those tires. Eli wants to play, and Eli should be playing. If anything, I think we should pick up Allen because he needs about a good 2 years of tweaking a few things around and some good mentorship, and I think Eli's that guy, to help him out with that. So
I agree, Rochelle, because I come from a time where you would bring in like a Jake Allen, and he would sit there and he would there was a mentorship. You put the baseball cap on backwards while the veteran guy shows you the ropes. It's what Aaron Rodgers had. It's what a lot of guys have to mature. Because let's face it, these are young guys that come in there. Some of them really aren't even physically mature. Like they've got to still grow into to be men. And I like what you said there. And if the Mara family sees value in that, I really hope they go down that path because that's a great point, Rochelle.
Me too.
Now, when it comes to the Super Bowl, so is there an allegiance to a side that you have, or are you just so angry about the Giants that football's done for you?
I think this Super Bowl is like a Giants' worst nightmare. I mean, the Patriots and the Eagles, I mean, oh my gosh, like, I think I'm just going to watch it just for like the halftime show. That's it. But I mean, if I had to pick, if I really, really, really had to pick, it would be the Patriots. I cannot see a team in my division, especially the Eagles, winning the Super Bowl. I mean, and I'm reading Tom Brady's book right now. I do not know why. I do not know why, but you really do have to respect the work and the preparation. I mean, just with Belichick and Brady, I mean, it's just they're unstoppable, and you just have to appreciate and respect the hard work that they do put in the game.
Hey, Rochelle, I told a friend of mine that you were going to be on today, and he definitely is a huge fan, and we're talking a little bit of football and so forth. You mentioned Tom Brady, and when we talk about the adult industry, we always talk about crossover stars. How successful would Tom Brady be in the adult industry?
Oh, he'd be terrible, but putting Gronkowski. No, Gronkowski is a whole other story.
Yeah.
He would be perfect for the adult industry. Like he is like a total just frat boy, gone wild, Gronkowski. In the name, I mean, come on. And he's already had relations with some porn stars. Yeah. He would be perfect.
Yeah. Who's to say that he hasn't been in some? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, right?
The Gronk bonk. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, he might be in a few girls like private Snapchats or something, but yeah, he's definitely the ultimate right there.
Hey, I noticed on your Twitter too. You were talking about Stormy Daniels, and that's a pretty big topic of conversation. She was on Jimmy Kimmel yesterday. What's your take on the whole?
I watched.
She looked pretty good, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. She looks great.
And what's your take on the whole situation with Stormy Daniels, Donald Trump? I mean, she's getting a lot of attention for this. Is she doing the right things with it? And how do you feel about that situation?
I mean, I think so. I mean, she's kind of goals for me right now. I kind of want to have relations with the president, especially Donald Trump. But you know, it's kind of like, I mean, it's Donald Trump, and of course, it's a porn star, so it's going to be huge news. But you know, for any president, this isn't anything out of the norm. You know, this is kind of a common thing where you know they have to pay off the neighbor that they grew up next to, to make sure they don't tell any stories or anything. But because it's Donald Trump, he's having to pay off a lot of people to keep quiet. Most presidents probably have to pay out like $500,000 to keep people quiet, and Trump's probably shelling out $1 million. But I think it's great, and it just kind of shows, I think so many people forget that porn stars that, we're people too.
Absolutely.
And, we have, normal lives. And, like she said, she has a family and kids and, puts her kids on the bus and brings them to soccer practice. And I think, a lot of the general public forgets that.
Well, let me ask you this, just because you kind of touched on that and I was kind of curious about it. The industry you're in, a lot of people, will love your movies, and you're a very pretty lady. Have you had any celebrities come up to you and try to, I guess, not take advantage isn't the right word,
well,
but hit on where they think that, well, you're Rochelle Ryan, of course you're gonna go for me because I'm XYZ of the famous movie, whatever you want to call it, and here I am. Have you ever been in those situations? You don't have to name names unless you want to, but have you been in those situations before where they're like, ooh, I wouldn't mind getting a piece of that?
Oh, absolutely, I have. I definitely have.
Or we can just about one name. Just give us one name, and it could be cute, funny too. It doesn't have to be an awful story. It'd be like,
I have had a lot of Giants players, but I think the funniest thing has to be when I do get hit on by players on like opposing teams, and I kind of make fun of them. I'm like, well, if you were a Giant, I would love to hang out with you, but you kind of play for the enemy, so.
I love it.
Yeah, I know. I thought you were going to say like Carrot Top or something, and then I was going to be like,
oh God, no, he's not even a celebrity. Like, I think I'm more famous than he is.
Oh, that is awesome. We're in conversation with Rochelle Ryan here on rawmike.richards.com, also watching live on the dedicated YouTube channel, and of course all things football. As David mentioned, but I gotta go back a little bit here because you're a New York girl, and I've been, I just finished watching. I don't know if you get time to even watch, all the TV series because I know you travel a lot. But I finally saw the Deuce. Have you had a chance to see the show with James Franco at all?
No, I honestly haven't, and it's very sad to say that when I do get a chance to watch TV, it's usually Sports Center, the local news, or Shark Tank. That's like all I seem to ever watch. Like last night watching Jimmy Kimmel was just kind of like a rarity.
Like the Deuce is awesome, and it goes back to the 70s and really the infancy of when in the adult industry they started making and venturing off into different films because the laws would change, right? The laws would fluctuate, and you'd never know what you could do and then what you couldn't do, and all the little bookstores and all kinds of stuff. But James Franco's in it. But Maggie Gyllenhaal is actually a producer in it, and she has a role in it, and you can kind of see within the industry where it was just such bad technique, horrible lighting, just real back alley stuff, and her character probably an amalgamation of a bunch of women who all of a sudden from the women's side of things started to direct it differently. They started to produce it differently. They started treating the women differently, and you look at where it came from, which was really probably a very horrific experience, to the fact it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and if you're going to shoot something, they don't shoot them for $100 anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah, no, I might have to, you're like the second or third person that's mentioned that show to me. So now it's kind of like in my brain, so I might have to check it out.
Hey, Rochelle, what's going on with you schedule-wise? I know you travel quite a bit. You're in the west coast of the United States right now, but any tours going on? Anything we should be keeping an eye on?
Oh, so this I think is pretty hilarious.
Okay.
But this upcoming weekend, of all places where I have a dance booking, I am booked at the Gold Club in Philadelphia.
Oh, boy.
Super Bowl weekend.
Oh.
And I signed off on this contract in November of last year. And I was like, I think everybody was like, I definitely didn't think the Giants were going to the Super Bowl at that point, but no way did I ever think the Eagles would be in the Super Bowl, ever. And here I am, booked in Philadelphia. They booked me for the Wing Bowl. That's actually like a huge thing that they do in Philadelphia before the Super Bowl. And then when things changed, Eagles are now in the Super Bowl. They were like, they wanted to extend my contract for a day and have me there Super Bowl Sunday as well. So, yes, I will be at the Gold Club this Thursday through Sunday in Philadelphia.
I love it.
And actually, I've done a lot of, a few other sports shows, and of course, I'm definitely not an Eagles fan. I'm not supporting them at all. So I've had some very colorful emails and tweets and messages sent to me. So I've gone as far as I always take my little dog with me, and he has a New York Giants collar. I've taken everything blue off. My dog doesn't have his New York Giants collar. I usually travel with a New York Giants luggage bag. I'm not bringing any of that into Philly this weekend. We're going in very neutral colors.
Yeah, because those Philly fans, they're hardcore. They're
I don't trust them.
No, I wouldn't be doing that. It's like you kidding? Coming out in an Eli Manning jersey?
Yeah.
Right? Because that's part of the show, is it not? Do you not wear the colors when you do the shows?
Not really.
No. Okay.
Sometimes I will. I do have some New York Giants props and stuff that I bring out on stage with me, like a basket, and collect my money. But I didn't even bring that. I said, nope, we're going in very neutral colors. My security that travels with me, he's actually a New York Giants fan as well, and he's like, we are not wearing anything blue. He's like, we're going in very neutral colors this weekend. So, yeah, I like to joke and say that I think that I curse the NFL because this is just terrible.
Okay, so we have to ask, is there a score for the game? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think a final score could be, Rochelle?
I think it's going to be a really close game, but I'm thinking 24-21 Patriots.
Yeah, you know what? Because it's in the gambling sense, you're getting 5 points if you take the Eagles. So therefore, I know it's going to make you sick to say that, but would you actually take the +5 and the Eagles this weekend? You would bet on the Eagles.
I've learned you never, ever bet against Brady, honestly. Look at the Super Bowl last year. He is a unicorn. I can't bet against Brady.
And so even if he asked you out, so Giselle takes off, she goes back to Brazil, she's all mad, and Tom Brady sees you and he says, "Hey Rochelle, would you like to go out? Would you like to go to the Olive Garden? Would you go?"
The Olive Garden.
Would you go?
I probably would, just to harass him a little bit and just to pick on him.
We love it.
He's like a vegan, pretty boy, and in his book he's talking about how he drinks 3 gallons of water a day, and he thinks he's immune to getting sunburn, and I would like to question him a little bit on that. So it would just mainly be just to pick on him is why I would probably accept the date.
I hear you.
Rochelle, thanks so much for today. I know, again, we know you travel a lot, schedule's busy, and you're all over literally North America. But
and she's calling us from the Pacific time zone.
Yeah,
it's early morning.
That is early time, but
she's
boy,
awesome.
I'll tell you, you're an awesome pro to do this for us, and we just think you're a doll. And the fact that you joined us today, we just really, really like it. So have yourself a great Super Bowl weekend, hopefully a safe one, and maybe down the road we'll get a chance to catch up with again real soon because it's just so much fun.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Thanks, Rochelle.
Have a good morning. Bye.
Bye-bye.
that is Rochelle Ryan. And once again, people are like, why would you have Triple X?
Oh, we'd have one every day if we could.
She's awesome.
Yeah, she's very cool.
What, you disagreed with her philosophy when she was talking about what the Giants should do? That's exactly what they should do.
She's right. It's crazy. It's I remember a friend telling me, because there's a couple Giant fans in my family, and she isn't one of these people that will put on the jersey and pose for it. It's like no, she'll break down X's and O's with you where the team should go with their draft selection. Like, I was almost thinking that while we were talking, a good time to call her would be probably right after the draft, the NFL draft, to kind of figure out what the Giants did with their picks, because they are drafting second overall, and there will be a monumental Giant player selected at that position that we could be talking about for the next decade if everything works out well for that team. So, you know what, diehard fan, and love her opinion, and she always comes in with pretty good, funny takes, and I just thought, perfect, Super Bowl week. None better than Rochelle Ryan.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, just so you know, she is pretty well known. She's been on TMZ. Like, she's big enough that people not in the adult industry kind of follow around with what she does. But she's a real champ for coming and joining us. She's a lot of fun, and as I said, it's not like I'm going to throw a dart at a dartboard and see. She legitimately knows football, loves the Giants.
Bingo.
So would you not take like the young Allen out of Wyoming? And then have him study under Eli Manning? Like, it's a smart idea, but one that you rarely see anymore. Because as she said, Josh Rosen, he wants the ball.
Yeah.
But be careful what you wish for. You know what was really interesting? There's a satellite sports radio show on, I think it's what do they call it? Mad Dog Sports.
Okay.
It's called Morning Men, and they had Ryan Leaf on the show today.
Oh.
Really, really interesting stuff. As he talked about what it was like, because when he's brought up and brought into a show, what do you think you're asking? So who was the bigger boss, Greg Oden or you? Or are you? What about that robbery? What about the drugs? Like all this kind of stuff. But he gives us real interesting background. Speaking of West, because I think he actually is from Wyoming. I think he's born that way. That's why going to Washington State in Pullman isn't really all that far. But they were kind of small town guys. At one point, the state had like one area code. Like, it didn't matter what town you're from. You were from one area code. So when he got into the Spanos group, when it was that whole San Diego thing, when he was on a private jet with his dad, and they're showing videos of him, that is Spanos, dancing around with like Bob Hope or something, or some really weird stuff. And he said, they're like, don't you screw us on the contract. Don't you hold us for ransom.
Yep.
And he leans over, Ryan Leaf leans over to his dad and goes, where are we? What is and you? How often do you really get to hear from the guy who could have had it all and lost it all? Because I'll be honest, as a host of these shows that I've done for the better part of 27, almost 30 years, I guess, I've never been the fan or relished a whole bunch in those that lose their opportunity, that lose their chance of being successful. I don't really sit there and again, some people are really excited when they see these massive busts or careers that go sideways, and they just, I don't know, there's this sort of feeding frenzy that goes on when guys don't do well. Maybe it's because of my upbringing, maybe because it's my dad, maybe from coaches and teachers, but it never has been really something that I've enjoyed, is watching on the public stage guys take a gas can to their career.
Yeah.
And look, there's enough of it. You can go in any sport you want. I mean, and I think here in Toronto, when I look at some of the, like Ricky Romero was one of the worst to me.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen. I mean, at one point he's their number one.
He was an opening day starter.
Yeah. Two. I just go to Buffalo and make $7 million a year, and
then kicked off that roster too because he wasn't good enough there either.
Sad. And I still to this day. I mean, why? What happened? I mean, we don't really know of any hidden injuries necessarily.
That's
about
right.
Mechanics and. Oh, man, you just never know. But I think it's interesting. And this is when this stuff comes up at this time of year, when you take a look at those who managed to get there. And, I think to say that Philadelphia makes it to a Super Bowl, considering what they did all season long, that's not a surprise. But the fact that Carson Wentz isn't at quarterback, that's the surprise.
That's a major surprise.
And for Nick Foles, he's now played himself back into conversations about just how good he is, and is this really talking about a starting quarterback? Like Case Keenum, do you think he stays in Minnesota or does he go somewhere?
That's the big question. I think
does he go to the Giants?
I think he actually stays in Minnesota. I think it's going to be him and Bridgewater. I think they're going to compete, though, for the job. And that's the thing where you sit there and you go, oh, why would he want to compete for something? The other side of it, and it's interesting because depending on what they do with Eli Manning, if they say goodbye or cut or trade or whatever the situation might be, Pat Shurmur is a big Case Keenum guy. Like, they actually called him the Case Keenum whisperer. So if you want to talk about a holdover, a bridge quarterback, Case Keenum to the Giants, you draft your quarterback, Case Keenum leaves or becomes the backup or however you want to do it, and the heir apparent takes over in that situation, maybe that's a possibility. I don't know. It'll be interesting because the guy's played so well for the majority of the season that he's earned himself something somewhere. We just don't know where.
Well, and the other thing, too, is quarterbacks in that league, like some of these teams, it's almost, what do they say, of riches.
Yep.
Whatever the term is. Who cares? Whatever. You know what I'm trying to say. It's just a great position to be in when you have a couple of guys who can play because guess what? The last, at least 5 years, maybe more, your starter goes down in the NFL, good luck with that.
Bingo.
Your season's over. I mean, look, the Texans had more than just their quarterback go down during that. I mean, that was a...
Hey, take a look. Yeah, take a look at them. Yeah. Take a look at the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
Packers is a great example. Do you think, where's Hundley? Unless they keep him to see some value in it, and they may do that. I mean, they just may do that.
I think that's a blown opportunity for them.
But don't you think that if you're in Hundley's camp, I don't know how you sell that.
No.
I really don't. Because I look at it and going, you really can't compete at that level in the NFL, not if you want to win.
No. That's exactly.
Well, you're certainly not a starter, but I don't even know if you're a backup at that point.
The way he came in at times looked lost, looked like he hasn't been in Packer camp for the last couple of years, which he has been. Maybe Joe Callahan, the guy that's actually in that third spot, is going to be the eventual backup and the guy that will take over, but we'll have to see about that. But the Packers are a very good example of putting all your eggs in one basket. And somebody went up to the basket and smashed it over a fence and went, good luck with that, because that's exactly what happened with Green Bay this year.
And by the way, if you're having a Super Bowl party, let's play a little. This is like what we'd like to call the shit music.
Okay.
I wonder if the guy who created this, watching at home, going, what?
I didn't call it that.
I called it Happy Happy Game Show. Yeah, should have called it something else. If you're hosting Super Bowl party, and I've seen this only a couple times. But if you're about to win a bet or you've got a bet on the line and it doesn't turn out for you, I wouldn't be mocking a guy or laughing or pointing. Don't do it.
Those are the worst people ever.
I've seen a guy do it and I went mental.
Yeah.
Like I kind of didn't mean to, but I came up with like some sort of weird ninja kung fu kick, and he had a mug of rum and Coke.
Yeah.
I wanted to come close. No, I connected. It would have been like a 50-yard field goal. I did it at my brother's house. It went spraying all over his like the leather couch and the rock, but hoofed it, went to the ceiling.
Yeah,
it wasn't. And then somehow the party was over.
Weird. Somehow the TV was turned off. Yeah, the music stopped. Yeah, it was just like, and nobody said a word.
Everybody out. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Well, I kind of did.
I love it.
I kind of did.
I love it.
But who mocks a guy who starts, that's what we got on Luch about.
So, yes.
Looks like you didn't win your bet. What?
Yeah.
We all saw that.
We know Einstein.
Yeah, I guess you didn't get the $2,500 you were hoping for.
It's also snowing. We don't need anybody telling us that either. So, the worst people, so honestly.
Can we just show from your last Super Bowl party before we go again? Because I really think that is a tremendous moment of, and also at a Super Bowl party, what not to bet on. Let's just see it one more time. Your moment of zen, as they like to say.
I'm gonna drop my balls, my babies, my future babies, my
babies are gone, bro.
Oh! Even the dog barked. That shit hurt my dick, bro.
Oh, those crazy Graham brothers.
Oh, yeah. Now the other brother ran to Sweden.
You want to go do karate in the garage? Yep.
Yep.
It's time!
Well, there's lots on this show. Boy, I got to tell you, huge thanks to Rochelle Ryan. What a great job she did today. Once again, so that was Pacific time? Is that what she called in?
Pacific time, yeah. I think she's in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's 7:30 in the morning. She woke up to join us. She's awesome.
Yeah, she did a great job. And, of course, you can find her on the internet.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Whatever. She's a doll. Tomorrow we'll talk, obviously, a lot of prop bets. What do you want to play? What are the good ones? What's the money in it? And then Phil Gray, I think we have actually. Is he in studio?
Phil Gray's? Yeah, it's on Friday.
On Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday. So
I thought it was tomorrow for some reason. No, it's Friday.
Betsapalooza. We'll see you tomorrow.
Later.